Chapter 1140, 1 Southwest Region. Under Zhang Yi's persuasion, Zhou Haimei still took the girls and the family out to play. Lu Karen hesitated. She felt that she should stay with Zhang Yi at this time. Even if she couldn't help him share his worries, companionship was the most affectionate protection.
But
Zhou Haimei leaned close to her ear and said, "We can't help much if we stay. Instead, it will make Zhang Yi feel guilty. It's better to go out and walk around according to his wishes, so that he will feel better." Lu Karen just realized it and followed Zhou Haimei, and a group of people left with laughter. Men are all creatures with hard words. Zhang Yi said that he didn't care about Face, just because he would not risk his life for Face. But he agreed to bring his family to play, but he was provoked in public as soon as he arrived in Xinjiang. Of course, he was very unhappy. At this time, what he needed was not the comfort of his family, but trust. The women in the family were very smart, so they left the villa one after another, and only Zhang Yi and Deng Shintong stayed. Fatty Su had no interest in going out to see the scenery, so he simply took his game console, went outside, found a big red pillar to sit down, and then concentrated on the game. He was so focused on playing that he didn't notice that someone appeared behind him. Li Yongyong stood behind him, lowered her head, and looked at him intently, the game console in her hand. After a long time, the screen of Fatty Su's game console suddenly went black. Fatty Su's face changed drastically with anger. Obviously I can pass this time. How come it's out of power? The north is much colder than the south. Even if there is a war machine cover, there must be a backup power supply. A gentle voice sounded behind Fatty Su, and then a hand with a white glove held a power bank and handed it to him. Fatty Su turned around in surprise and saw the Manor's housekeeper Li Yongyong standing behind her with a smile. Her smile was so beautiful, much more beautiful than the female technicians in Blizzard City. This was the first time that Fatty Su had such close contact with such a beautiful woman who was not a massage technician since he grew up. Especially her eyes, which were gentle and sincere when she looked at Fatty Su. In comparison, the girls in Blizzard City only had skills in their eyes, but no emotions. Fatty Su was speechless for a moment, and even forgot to take the power bank. Li Yongyong pursed her lips. "What's wrong? Don't you want to use mine?" She shook the power bank in her hand and reminded Fatty Su. "Oh, thank you. Thank you." Fatty Su reached out in a hurry and took the power bank carefully to avoid touching other people's hands. After all, if someone like him touched his hand, the other party would definitely feel disgusted. Li Yongyong smiled and said, "I didn't expect to see someone playing Zelda here. To be honest, I'm a little surprised." Fatty Su's body stiffened. He looked at Li Yongyong in astonishment. He couldn't believe that the beauty in front of him actually knew Zelda. How did you know?" Li Yongyong blinked, then reached out mysteriously and slowly took out a switch from her warm clothes. "Actually, I also like playing games." Her face was slightly red, and she put the switch in front of her face. As a member of the Longming Guards in Xinjiang District, it is actually very difficult to tell others that I still like playing games in my 20s. However, it's great to meet like-minded people here. She smiled gently, like the sunshine in March, which melted Fatty Su's heart in an instant. At this moment, he felt that he was in love. What he had said to Zhang Yi not long ago also became shit to him. Among the 5 regions invited to come, people from 4 regions have already arrived. There is another region that is late, that is, the southwest region far away in the southwest. Shang Dawen has been waiting for their arrival. It was almost noon, and there was still no news of their arrival, which made some people in the Longming Guards begin to feel dissatisfied. The people in the southwest region are so arrogant. Although they are far away from here, it only takes 1 or 2 hours by plane. Why are they dragging it on until now? Are they deliberately trying to show off their power to the Xinjiang region? Someone next to them stopped them. "Hush, don't talk nonsense if you don't know." He took a deep breath and looked into the distance with a serious look. The situation in the southwest region is different from other places. The forces there are complicated. Several Longming Guards around looked at each other and shook their heads helplessly. The mysterious southwest region has rarely appeared in people's mouths. Whether it is TV or newspapers, there are few reports about it. And after the end of the world, they don't know what the specific situation is there. It was close to noon when the Longming guards received information. The representative of the southwest region has arrived. Shang Dawen heard it and asked, "The one who came this time is their tantric guardian Shirtua Linju, or which one of the 4 major chieftain families in the southwest?" The officer under him reported, "According to the southwest region, the Shirtua Linju is now practicing hard in Songjia Temple. So the representative who came this time is Paji Geli, the head of the Paji family." When raised his eyebrows slightly after hearing that the head of the southwest region's Shirtua forest did not come. Ypsilon has not arrived yet, and the arrival of others may just be an expression of an attitude. Moreover, the one who came this time was not the first family of the 4 chieftain families, Yashalangtai, but the second largest family, the Paji family. This shows that the southwest region did not attach much importance to Xinjiang's call this time. But this is no wonder. The situation in the southwest region is the most complicated in the entire Huashu kingdom. After the end of the world, the local area has formed a situation of political and religious integration, and Xinjiang region has no way to intervene. "Go and greet them,"
Shang
Dawen said. The people of Longmingwei immediately led the team to greet them. Through satellite equipment, they saw the representatives of the southwest region, who came from afar. But even the veteran troops of Xinjiang region could not help but be stunned when they saw the other side's battle. It was an extremely large convoy, with hundreds of huge modified snowmobiles. Each vehicle was twice the size of a heavy truck, just like a moving house. These mobile homes are all in the traditional style of the southwest region, with high ceilings, mainly red and yellow, showing nobility and extreme luxury.
At
this moment, even Shang Dawen couldn't help but take a breath of the cold air of the north. No wonder they came so late. It would be strange if such a convoy could be fast. The southwest region is not without advanced means of transportation, but for those chieftains who are extremely extravagant, keen on pleasure and showing off their power, this method is obviously more popular with them. Shang Dao. Chapter 1142. 6 districts arrived. The huge and luxurious convoy of the southwest region came to the front of Xinjiang region. Shang Dawen went to greet them. In the middle was a giant mobile house, which could even be called a mobile fortress. It had 3 floors and was more than 10 meters high. It occupied nearly half of the more than 20-meter wide road in front of Xinjiang. Shang Dawen could hardly imagine how it was transported here. But seeing the thousands of burly men in traditional costumes around the convoy, Shang Dawen guessed the logic. The convoy stopped in front of the Ming imperial city in Xinjiang. Shang Dawen expressed his identity and his welcome to the representatives of the southwest region. At this time, the door of the huge chariot in the middle was slowly opened, and 2 beautiful girls walked down first. One girl opened the gorgeous curtain in front of the door, and the other girl walked under the car, then knelt down respectfully, with her back facing the sky.
When
the people in Xinjiang region saw this scene, they all showed an extremely strange light in their eyes. They were not unaware of what everything that was happening before their eyes meant. I just didn't expect that this kind of thing would happen in 2052. A middle-aged man slowly walked out of the carriage. He was fat and bloated, like a human-shaped boar. His head was bald, with only the hair in the middle tied into a long whip that extended to the back. His hair was decorated with the most luxurious jewelry, and his neck, clothes, and fingers were all wearing ornaments made of gold and jewelry. Because he was too fat, he seemed to have difficulty moving. He stepped hard on the back of the maid on the ground with both feet, and then he landed and stood firm. Shang Dawen walked over with a polite and gentle smile in his eyes. "Welcome, Mr. Pajigiler." Although the man in front of him looked difficult to make people like, he was one of the 5 most powerful people in the southwest region. The patriarch of the Paji family, Paji Gesang. In the southwest region, he is a figure like a god or Buddha. Paji Gesang bowed slightly to Shang Dawen. "May the gods bless you, great general." This time, the honorable funeral master and the Tripa did not come because they had to practice hard, so they sent me as a representative. The southwest region has the most mysterious religious culture. It is mainly located in the snowy plateau area and believes in the Tantric sect. The guardian deity of the Tantric sect is called the Lord of the Cemetery Forest, also known as the Burial Master. According to legend, each generation of the Lord of the Cemetery Forest is the supreme existence of the Tantric sect. When the previous generation of the Lord of the Cemetery Forest passed away, the true spirit appeared and left a will to tell everyone the time and place of his reincarnation. After his death, he will not enter reincarnation, but will be reincarnated as a child in the snowy region. This child is born with amazing wisdom and power. The monks of Songjia Temple found this child according to the guidance of the previous generation of the Lord of the Cemetery Forest, and he is the next generation of the Lord of the Cemetery Forest. This story has been circulated in the Tantric sect for many years, and the identity of the Lord of the Cemetery Forest, who protects the religion, has been strictly passed down. People have always thought that this is just an ancient legend. However, this generation of the Master of the Cemetery suddenly awakened an extremely powerful divine power after the end of the world. One night, he was inspired by the ascetic practice in Songjia Temple and directly broke through to the realm of Ipsilon. Since then, he has become the guardian god of the southwest region, just like the legend. The tribe of Songjia Temple is similar to the host of inland Buddhism and is also the actual supreme authority of the southwest region, which is now a religious and political region. The current tribe is the patriarch of the first family of the southwest region, Qinling Taideji. Originally, these two people were the most qualified to come to Xinjing to attend the rally. However, due to a series of complicated reasons, Paji Gasang was finally sent. Shang Dawen still politely invited him to enter Xinjing and stay at the arranged mansion. Regardless of whether the southwest region is willing to participate in the Qinling Mountains, people come with an attitude, and as the host, they naturally have to entertain them well. In this way, all the people from the 6 regions are here. Shang Dawen looked at the faraway southwest region convoy and muttered to himself. He looked into the distance, the central axis of Xinjing, to the north, the huge palace located in the center of Xinjing, the Temple of the Earth. At this time, the center of the palace was brightly lit with candlelight, and thousands of candle-shaped lamps illuminated the hall in the middle. A series of rolling curtains and veils covered an area in the middle. Through the light, one could vaguely see a series of simple wooden frames in the shape of steps, arranged in a square like mahjong tiles. These wooden frames were only more than 1 meter high and divided into 5 layers. On each layer were placed vivid wood carvings. A girl sat on a soft white fox fur, holding a carving knife with her tender white hands, and was concentrating on carving a human face. If you look at it, you will find that this face is 70% similar to Zhang Yi. This wood carving has not been completed yet. If it is completed, how lifelike it will be. And such wood carvings are almost full on the surrounding wooden shelves, and each wood carving represents a person. Even the most professional wood carving masters will be amazed at how exquisite the girl's craftsmanship is. She is not old, looks less than 20 years old, petite and soft looks. It seemed as if a gust of wind could blow it away. But her eyes were as bright as stars, and her hands were as steady as a craftsman who had been working for more than 20 years. She is the most mysterious existence in the entire Xinjing city. Ho Tu, Guanlongyue. The door of the palace was opened, and Qin Shigong, the supreme commander of the Xinjing region, the elegant middle-aged man, walked in. "Miss Guan, have you seen their appearance?" Guanlongyue said lightly without raising her head. "The fragments have been collected." Qin Shigong said, "I will gather them tonight to discuss going to the Qinling Mountains. If there is a chance, I will find a way to collect the other fragments on them." Guanlongyue raised her head and glanced at him. "Does it need to be like this for allies?" Qin Shigong smiled and said, "I just want to take precautions." Guanlongyue said lightly, "If you can collect the complete puzzle, you can control all of them. At that time, you'll be the highest power holder in Huashu country." The smile on Qin Shigong's face froze slightly, and he shook his head with a sneer. "You're kidding. I don't have such an idea. Isn't it all based on your abilities?" Guanlonghua didn't comment, but just lowered her head and continued to carve the wood carving in her hand. You can handle the things tonight by yourself. I won't go. Qin Shigong smiled and said, of course. Secret weapons need to remain mysterious so that people can feel awe. What humans fear is the unknown. Fear itself. Exposing unknown things to the sun may not be so scary. Chapter 1143 Being Targeted. Zhang Yi. He knew that he was being targeted by Li Changgong, so the other party would definitely find a way to force him to take action. Although Zhang Yi would try to avoid fighting, he still had to prepare for the subsequent battle. However, he did not know what Li Changgong's ability was. But Li Changgong would get some of his intelligence through Jiang Han. Zhang Yi obviously would not accept such an unequal battle. But where could he get information about Li Changgong? Zhang Yi looked at Deng Shintong beside him. Now the only person he could count on was Deng Shintong. Hey, old Deng. Huh? Deng Shintong frowned. What did you call me? Don't think too much. You're not old enough for me to call you old Denged. Zhang Yi leaned over from the sofa and looked at Deng Shintong with a smile. Your Deng family has such a wide network of connections. Is there any way to help me find out about Li Changgong's abilities? Deng Shintong stared at Zhang Yi meaningfully and said slowly, do you really think I have such a powerful ability? If I knew everything, how could I be fooled by you and almost lost my life on Qingdao? Zhang Yi's eyes lit up. Yes, I saved your life on Qingdao. Now is your chance to repay me. Deng Shintong held his forehead helplessly. Please, brother, it was you who tricked me into going to Qingdao, okay? Zhang Yi crossed his arms. Just tell me whether you will help or not. Deng Shintong did not refuse directly, which means he must have a way. This battle is related to the status of the entire Jiangnan region, and also to the interests of your Deng family. Deng Shintong, Deng Tongshan. Just use your Tongshan ability to help me once. Zhang Yi smiled and said to Deng Shintong. Deng Shintong took a deep breath, and after hesitating for a moment, he whispered, doing this requires taking a big risk. The people who know Li Changgong's ability are basically in the core layer of the Northwest region. If it is exposed now, Li Changgong may retaliate later. Zhang Yi heard this, and had already made up his mind. Deng Shintong said this not because he couldn't talk, but because he wanted to do Zhang Yi a big favor and let Zhang Yi know that it was not easy to get information. I will not forget your kindness. Lao Deng, you should know the weight of my words. Zhang Yi's words represent the promise of an Epsilon alien. He said it casually, but it was heavier than Mount Tai to others. The ordinary warehouse manager in Tianhai City has now become an important figure in the entire Huashu Kingdom. The transformation of identity will only be clearly manifested at this time. Deng Shintong stared at Zhang Yi. You have to promise that if you and Li Changgong must fight, you have to act for him. Let him think that you don't know his ability. Zhang Yi nodded. I can promise. Deng Shintong stood up as if he had made some important decision. Then he walked to the back, contacted his uncle, and contacted a senior official in the Northwest region through the family. Not everyone recognized Li Changgong for the power change in the Northwest region, and naturally some old-fashioned figures were dissatisfied with him as a young man. With the Deng family's connections over the years, it was not too troublesome to find out information about Li Changgong. It's just that after going back and forth, you need to owe a huge favor. But compared to Zhang Yi's promise, these prices are worth it. In the Northwest region, Li Changgong led a group of subordinates to their resting place. He took off his double swords and put them beside him. The haze on his face made all his subordinates dare not breathe. Li Changgong, born in a military family, was sent to a military academy at a young age, and he had a smooth journey since joining the army. He is not the kind of second-generation ancestor who only has background, but no ability. He is also very superior in all aspects and is recognized as a genius in the entire Northwest Army. In the Northwest region, no one dares to humiliate him face-to-face like Zhang Yi. Today, he originally planned to avenge Baihu and Zhuke, and by the way, he would improve his reputation by suppressing Zhang Yi so that those who were not convinced by him in the Northwest region would be completely convinced. But unexpectedly, Zhang Yi turned out to be a guy who spoke without restraint and scolded him in the street without caring about his face. Even if he wanted to attack, he had to consider the deterrence of Qinling region. Now, he was holding a breath of air in his chest, and he was eager to vent it. There were 5 powerful deputy generals around Li Changgong. Because Li Changgong's title was Emperor Go Qin, they named it after the 5 polar war gods under the seat of Emperor Go Qin. They are the god of war in the sky, the god of war on the earth, the god of war in the human world, the god of war in the South Pole, and the god of war in the North Pole. The sky god of war was a female general. She came over and said to Li Changgong, "Commander, the aliens in the Jiangnan region are too rude. Do you want us to arrange to intercept them on their way back? I will vent your anger for you." Li Changgong said in a deep voice, "You can make a plan first, but I will find a way to force him to fight me. If he is too despicable and keeps avoiding fighting, we will use the last trick." The sky god of war nodded, then turned and left the room. She called a few subordinates and began to make necessary preparations for interception on the way back from the Jiangnan region. This battle, whether Zhang Yi wants to fight or not, they must fight. Li Changgong and others are already riding a tiger, and it is difficult to get off. If they don't fight this battle, Li Changgong's 3 fires after taking office will not be able to burn, and his reputation in the northwest region will be greatly damaged in the future. Therefore, Li Changgong must step on the heads of Zhang Yi and the entire Jiangnan region in this battle to consolidate his throne. My ability index is as high as 16,000 points, while he only has 13,000 points. In addition, with Xiaohan's information, I now have the right time, place, and people. Chaos, you can't escape. I'm determined to step on you as a stepping stone. Li Changgong's eyes burst into a sharp light, and the corners of his mouth curled up a fascinating sneer. The guest room where the representative of the southwest region is located. Paji Gasang sat down on the sofa in the middle. The sofa, which could originally accommodate 4 people, had basically no room for other people. But except for him, no one else dared to sit down. Behind Paji Gasang, more than a dozen young and beautiful maids stood with their hands hanging down. Beside him, there were 2 men. One was more than 2 meters tall, with skin the color of black iron and bulging muscles. This was Paji Gasang's first guard, Solong Deji. The other, although wearing traditional clothes of the snowy plateau, had a 3:7 split hairstyle commonly seen in the outside world, and his hair was neatly smeared with hair oil. He was in his 40s, and his face was full of gentlemanly elegance. This was the royal chef of the Paji family and a member of the Paji family's collateral branch, Paji Luodan. Chapter 1144, Challenge. The receptionist from Xinjiang came over and said to Paji Gasang respectfully, "Dear Chief Paji, we have prepared a sumptuous lunch for you and your entourage. Please enjoy it." He clapped his hands, and the service staff sent by Xinjiang pushed in a cart, and soon the table in the living room was filled with sumptuous food. Paji Gasang opened his big nostrils, sniffed hard, and then gave a look to a maid. The maid immediately walked over, carefully took a plate of food, and handed it to Paji Gasang. Paji Gasang used the silver chopsticks to pick it up twice, then put down the chopsticks and said to the receptionist with a smile, "I appreciate your kindness, but I am not used to the food in Xinjiang. Please take these meals away." The receptionist was a little confused. The food they prepared for the representatives of the 5 regions was of very high quality, all made with fresh vegetables and meat. How could Paji Gasang be picky? But how do you solve your dining problem? Paji Gasang smiled and looked at the royal chef Paji Luodan standing next to him. "I usually only eat the food made by Luodan." Paji Luodan nodded to the waiter. The waiter heard it and said, "Since it is your wish, we will do it." He ordered his men to move all the food away. Then he led the people to retreat. When leaving, a group of service staff were still whispering, "So many delicious foods, they don't even want them. Isn't it too strange? Are they afraid that we will poison the food?" Someone snorted contemptuously. "Maybe the dining habits in the southwest region are different from those in Xinjiang," the leader said lightly, but when he turned around and looked at the big house, he couldn't help but feel a little confused. But not long after, They suddenly smelled an extremely strong fragrance coming from the side of the villa, and their eyes couldn't help but stare straight. That fragrance was something they had never smelled before, and it could directly invade their souls from their noses, making their brains ripple. Even though they had lived in Shengjing for their entire lives and had seen countless delicacies, they had never had such a wonderful experience. Even just smelling the fragrance made them secrete a lot of saliva. What a nice smell! What is this? Why is it so fragrant? Is it someone cooking? Everyone followed the smell and found that the smell came from the convoy in the southwest region. At this time, on a dining car, the royal chef Pageloden opened the box behind him, took out a sealed thigh from it, removed the plastic wrap, and placed it on the chopping board. Then, he took out a sharp kitchen knife and rubbed it skillfully on the sharpening rod. He stared at the thigh meat, his eyes gradually became sharp, and the kitchen knife in his hand danced a phantom that was difficult for the eyes to capture. A moment later, the yak meat was finally divided into dozens of pieces and neatly arranged on the chopping board. Soon, another delicious dish with a rich aroma was made. Luo Dan put the food into the plate and covered it with a golden tablecloth. Then a maid came over and brought the food to the table in front of Paji Gaseng. At this time, the fat man was already eating with oil dripping from his mouth. When there were no outsiders present, he ate without any image, with a chicken in his left hand and a yak leg in his right hand. For one of the most powerful people in the southwest region, he could do whatever he wanted, so he naturally didn't bother to pretend to be a gentleman. The weird style of doing things in the southwest region made the service staff sent by Shengjing dumbfounded. That afternoon, Qinling, the sky god of war in the southwest region, came to the courtyard of the Jiangnan region with a team of people. The atmosphere of killing filled this cold world. Outside the courtyard was the guards of the Jiangnan region, who immediately stopped them at the door. Bai Chunyu narrowed his eyes and asked coldly, "Are people from the southwest region going to cause trouble in Shengjing?" Cheng Lanlan raised a sneer at the corner of her mouth and then took out an envelope and handed it over. "This is a declaration of war from our commander to Hun Dun of Jiangnan District. Hun Dun killed our commander's brother. This battle is inevitable. If Hun Dun still has a little dignity of a strong man, then he will fight our commander. However, if he is afraid, he can refuse." Chung Lamlin's tone was full of naked contempt. Bai Chunyu frowned. Today, Zhang Yi has rejected Li Chonggong's request for a decisive battle in person, but they still sent someone to deliver the declaration of war. This is a provocation. This is a manifestation of attitude. If Zhang Yi is unwilling to fight, they will keep staring at Zhang Yi. You can use words to resist once or twice, but if it happens too many times, it will definitely make people think that this is a sign of weakness. Especially now, people from the 6 major districts have gathered in Shengjing. And what they want to discuss is a major event related to the future of Huaxi State. Losing face at this time will have a huge impact. Wait here for a while. I will report to Lord Hun Dun. Of course, Bai Chunyu could not accept the declaration of war. Instead, he turned and entered the courtyard. Not long after, he informed Zhang Yi and Deng Shintong of the news. Zhang Yi frowned slightly. It seems that this battle has to be fought. Deng Shintong hurriedly advised, "Now is not the time to act on impulse. With your current strength, you are definitely not his opponent. Be patient for a while, and everything will be fine." Zhang Yi waved his hand at him. "I can't bear it anymore. I will make my own decision on this matter." He stood up and walked out of the room under Deng Shintong's helpless expression. Zhang Yi asked the location of Yang Xinxin and others through the communicator, and then stepped into the heavy snow. The vast snow covered the courtyard, and the winter plum blossoms bloomed beautiful flowers. After the cold winter, there are always more beautiful flowers that can still bloom. Of course, Zhang Yi did not accept the letter of challenge handed over by the southwest region. Cheng Lanlan sneered and went back, but the news spread like wildfire and reached the ears of other regions. Regarding Zhang Yi's repeated forbearance, some people think that Zhang Yi is very rational. It is said that the guy obtained the source of God in the ocean and then broke through. However, among the Ypsilons of Huaxu country, he was the last to advance, and his ability index is only 13,000 points. And Li Changgong has mastered all the resources of the Northwest region for his own use, and now has an ability index of 16,000 points. Such a huge gap, coupled with Li Changgong's meticulous work style, he must have prepared everything in advance. The gap in strength between the two is difficult to make up, so it is better to avoid war. However, in this way, the Jiangnan region will be inferior to others in the future in Huashu country's state affairs consultation occasions. Chapter 1145 Summit Meeting. No one thought that Zhang Yi would accept Li Changgong's invitation to fight. They could understand Zhang Yi's approach. However, in a world with the strong pay on the weak, it does not mean that they will sympathize with Zhang Yi. Instead, they will inevitably have a hint of contempt in their heats. No one will sympathize with the weak. On the fifth day of Aving in Shengjing, the Eni Shengjing was filled with a tense atmosphere because of the problems between the Northwest region and the Jiangnan region. The Shengjing region is trying its best to maintain and avoid the intensification of conflicts. But everyone else is holding an attitude of watching the show. They also want to see what kind of stank the Northwest King Li Changgong and the suddenly imaging boy Hun Dun have. An afternoon passed quickly. Zhang Yi accompanied his family to Stoll on the huge Manhwa for a while. I have to sigh that Shengjing is Shengjing. Even if it is cold and freezing, it can still build these gorgeous manos. And it is said that the Ko-Aea of Shengjing, Wichin Qigong and Ho Tu and Oths live, has been built into an excellent Doomsday fortress with the world's most advanced technology. Halfway, though, he called Lu Qin aside and chatted with he for a while. Xiao Xiao asked Lu Qin to pee some things for him in case of emergency. It was evening. Shengjing sent a special CA to welcome representatives from various regions. Since the issues discussed at this meeting we have gained impotence, only one person from each region was allowed to go. In other words, only Zhang Yi could go, and Deng Shintong could only accompany him and wait outside. However, this still could not stop everyone's curiosity. Even if they were just waiting outside the conference center, they hoped to know the Isan Fo Shengjing to gath representatives from the 6 regions with Geet fanfare. After a while, the CA arrived at the Ko-Aea of Shengjing. Shengjing has a city within a city. Within the Minghuang city, there is also a science and technology city, where only the highest level POW agencies live and walk. After entering the city gate, Zhang Yi was shocked to find that the temperature he was as high as more than 20 degrees. Moreover, the ground was all made of special non-reflective materials, and the laying technology was so powerful that even the gap between the 2 floors could not be seen. Zhang Yi looked up and found that after the large flakes of snow fell from above his head, they seemed to be affected by something and drifted to both sides. None of them could fall in this AEA. I can't believe that Shengjing has built a completely closed science and technology city. Even Zhang Yi, Deng Shintong and Oths who are well informed were impressed by this scene. This place coves an AEA of tens of thousands of square meters and is completely warped in special materials, like a huge egg. And within such a ange, it can also achieve full heating. But this is the North after all, and losing heating is equivalent to losing their lives, which Zhang Yi can understand very well. But on second thought, the energy consumed behind doing this is definitely an astronomical fig for the forces after the end of the world. Yuan mine. Zhang Yi murmured. The only explanation is the mysterious OE they found from a depth of 10,000 meters under the earth. It's no wonder why Zhu Zheng was so excited when he mentioned this OE. When he saw the science and technology city, Zhang Yi also understood a lot. Li Yongyang led the way for Zhang Yi and Oths, and personally sent Zhang Yi to the due of the conference hall. Only you can go in he. As FO with guests, please wait in the next doom fist. Li Yongyang smiled elegantly and gently. When he eyes passed by Fatty Su, he smiled deepened a little. Fatty Su's heartbeat couldn't help but speed up severe beats, and a silly smile appeared on his face. Zhang Yi tuned down and said to Deng Shintong, Zhou Kui and Oths, I'll go in fist, you just wait he. But there was one person missing from the crowd, that is Yang Xinshin. At this time, Yang Xinxin was a lady in Zhang Yi's shadow. As Fo Jingwei, she has always adhered to the professional spit of the Sisik Guad and has revealed he Tuesday identity. When necessary, she can also become a Sisit weapon Fo Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi is a little smart and his IQ is quite high, but due to his life experience, he is not good at dealing with such intrigues and situations evwod may have deep meaning. So binging Yang Xinxin with him is of great help to him. Zhang Yi stepped into the huge conference hall. The auths were led by Li Yangyang into the waiting room next to them. Fatty Su coughed, walked to his side, and patted the game console in his pocket. Li Yangyang smiled and whispered in his ear, "Wait, Fo me a moment." Fatty Su nodded happily. Looking at Li Yangyang's sweet smile, Fatty Su felt that he had met Tuesday love. Because in this world, it was the first time that a Gil could look him straight in the eyes and then smile gently. Li Yangyang was not pet ending because gaming skills were Fatty Su's strong point, and it was impossible Fo Li Yangyang to pet end to be a game Ned in front of a dead Ned. She is the same kind of person as me, Fatty Su thought sweetly in his heat. When Zhang Yi walked into the room, two people had alleviated. They were Han Shanzhua from the northeast region and Paja Jeseng from the southwest region. Han Shanzhua was wearing a black leather jacket, sitting on a chai with his legs crossed, looking very kafy. He had a big belly, and when Zhang Yi saw him, he couldn't help but think of the Fog Chi Baokai at home. You know what? They eerily look alike. Paja Jeseng was twice as fat as Han Shanzhua, and his fat body was stuffed into the chai. Although the latest chai was specially peppered for him, it still looked very cowdead. After seeing Zhang Yi, the two of them also gazed at each other. Paji Jeseng nodded politely and, chaos. Zhang Yi nodded, Paji Tusi. Han Shanzhua waved at Zhang Yi carelessly, hey boy. Zhang Yi nodded. Luya from the northeast region, I've had a lot about you. Han Shanzhua chuckled. Long head of you. We from different places, and it's probably the first time you know thee is such a person as me. Zhang Yi aced his eyebrows and couldn't help laughing. This buddy looks careless, but his personality is not annoying. He walked over calmly, found a chai, and sat down. The AG time was 7 o'clock in the evening, and it was almost time. After a while, representatives from the Northwest region and the East China Sea region also came. Li Changgong and Jiang Han came together. They grew up together as siblings, and now it's AFO them to see each other, so naturally they have to chat. The appearance of Li Changgong immediately made the atmosphere tense. Everyone looked at him and Zhang Yi, looking like they were watching a good show. But Li Changgong seemed to not see Zhang Yi, and just pulled out a chai Fo Jiang Han like a gentleman, letting he sit down next to him. Jiang Han couldn't help but glance at Zhang Yi, only to see Zhang Yi looking at he with a smile. Zhang Yi knew that his personal information had been passed on to Li Changgong by Jiang Han. However, the East China Sea region did not have all his information, because in the battle on Qingdao, Zhang Yi did not show his full strength at all. Dear viewers, thanks. Please subscribe if not already.